over 55 years, your source for agribusiness news and features from around the Southeast and across the country, focusing on one of the nation's top industries, agriculture. The Farm Monitor is produced by the Georgia Farm Bureau in association with Abraham Baldwin Agricultural College.
Greetings, dear friends. Join us as we wish you a belated Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays to you and yours. So glad you can join us for a very special Farm Monitor.
That's right. It's our Reporter Favorites edition, the stories we here at the show enjoyed most in 2024. Case in point, my favorite story of the year inside a Georgia chicken farm where technology meets tradition to ensure the comfort and health of over 500,000 birds. Or how about this one? From the depths of Georgia's coast emerges a new delicacy. Get ready to savor the taste of home with Tybee Oyster Company.
Plus, maybe one of the best feel-good stories we aired this year. John Holcomb showing us how One Atlanta program is tackling food deserts and changing lives by bringing fresh food to those who need it most. Again, our Reporter Favorite show of 2024, and it all starts right now.
With Georgia laying claim to the top spot for broiler production, raising chickens becomes crucial not only for the overall agricultural economy, but also for the state's economic prosperity. Leighton Cooley of Cooley Farms is well aware of this. Back in March, I was afforded the chance to visit his operation where I learned firsthand the ins and outs of chicken production here in Georgia.
The feed comes in the house from the bins outside, through these pipes into the hopper, and then the hopper will take the feed down the line, and which will put it in the feed pans and the turbos.
Lane is no stranger to the farm.
My favorite thing about growing up on a farm is being around animals and working with them and watching them grow.
He spent the morning raising the turbos, those orange things right there. They stay down for the first week of the chick's life to allow easy access to their food in a lower spot.
The orange ones will normally take out once the chickens get older and they're big enough to eat out of the feed pans.
It's one of the many tasks they have to do on a chicken farm.
On this farm, there are 27,000 birds in each house, and there's 4 houses here on the farm.
They have 3 farms total, with a little over 500,000 birds altogether.
We get the chickens here on the farm the day that they're hatched. The houses are 91 degrees when we put them in, and so you think, got to be warm, those birds are just coming out of an incubator.
Their body heat is normally at 104 degrees, and if the chickens get too cold, it will make them not want to eat and drink. That's really what the heater does for them. It just helps them stay warm.
It's a lot to monitor, but advancements in technology help make the process just a little bit easier.
There's an app for a chicken house.
It tells me if there's any heaters on. It tells us what fans are running. It tells me how much water they've drank today. So far, this house has drank 634 gallons a day.
The app can call or send a text alert if something doesn't seem right.
If anything gets out of a parameter, like a motor's running too long, water isn't running in the window that it's supposed to, temperature, anything gets out of kilter, if you will, it'll actually alert us.
The app helps them make sure the chickens stay comfortable at just the right temperature with water and feed constantly.
A chicken's natural instinct is to peck, and when they peck, it pushes this up and allows the water to drip down, and that's how they get their water.
Did you know that the main ingredients in chicken feed are corn and soybean meal, and the type of chicken food changes as they grow?
Grower feed is pelleted for the big birds, but baby chicks, it's actually, those pellets are crushed and is ground up into just a more fine feed.
The chickens are kept in these houses to protect them from weather.
No chicken wants to be rained on.
Predators.
We humans aren't the only ones that like to make a meal out of chicken, right?
And disease.
We exercise biosecurity on the farm, meaning that any outsiders have to suit and boot to protect and come in. Every time we go in a house, we cross what's called the line of separation from outside to in. We're actually stepping in dry chlorine baths to make sure that we don't track anything on the bottom of our boots.
The chickens will grow from just a few ounces in size to 4.5 pounds in just 5 weeks.
One of the greatest misconceptions is, of course, hormones and steroids. Steroids are completely impractical. Hormones have been illegal to feed to chickens since like the 1950s or 60s. We actually grow on an NAE program that's no antibiotics ever.
He credits their growth with 3 things: genetics,
great feed, and a good environment.
We're constantly moving air. We have to keep enough ventilation to keep the house dry.
Did you know the chickens have a bedtime too?
We have 6 hours of dark every night just to make sure, that the birds understand the day cycle.
They get new birds in each house 6 times a year. So it's safe to say there's always something to be done on a poultry farm like Cooley Farms.
Bird comfort, bird health is priority to us.
In Crawford County, I'm Jennifer Parson reporting for the Farm Monitor.
All right, great job, Jennifer. As if Georgia's agricultural landscape wasn't diverse enough, now the Tybee Oyster Company in Savannah is adding a unique twist to the mix. In what turned out to be his favorite story of 2024, Damon Jones takes us behind the scenes for an up-close look at their operation, revealing why oysters could soon become the next big thing here.
While shrimping has been a staple of the Georgia coast for more than a century, there could be a new player in town thanks to the husband and wife team of Laura and Perry Solomon. Coming off their first harvest season, the Tybee Oyster Company is a culmination of an idea years in the making.
Actually, in college, we would come down here on the weekends and go harvest wild oysters. So to us, they're a taste of home. I mean, it never really occurred to us that people wouldn't think the same. They're a lot harder to get when you have to go stand in the mud and pickaxe them. But they're a taste of home for us. They're a phenomenal oyster, so we're really excited to see it on a plate in restaurants.
One of the reasons for their success is all of the time and effort that goes into maintaining this floating oyster farm throughout the year. It's a production practice that allows for more quality control without sacrificing any of the nutrition.
Floating oyster farm just means that instead of the oysters growing wild on the banks in clumps, they're actually floating on the surface of the water. And depending on what region you're in, different areas do it slightly differently. But for us, they sit in that top part of the water column where all the nutrients and algae are flowing through. We have a lot of wave energy on our lease.
The Tybee Oyster Company is a pioneer when it comes to promoting the oyster industry here in Georgia, as it is the first of what is likely to become many such businesses along the coast.
2019, there was legislation passed asking the DNR to create a framework for farmed oysters. The first leases were issued in 2022, and we're the first leaseholders farming, and that began in 2023. So from a regulatory standpoint, it's been a slow road, but with the support we're seeing, I think it's going to take off pretty quickly.
Another reason for optimism is the acclaim these oysters are already receiving from both restaurants and their customers for its unique taste that can only be achieved by growing them here on the Bull River.
We call them salt bombs. That is an apt name. They're very briny with kind of a sweet finish in the adductor muscle. But in addition to the brininess, you can see the local Spartina grass that's everywhere. So they do have kind of that lemongrass note you'll pick up on. They're definitely not as minerally as an oyster from the Northeast. And it's really cool. You talk about wine and how it tastes based on where it's grown. Oysters are very similar to that.
While it's that taste of home that initially drew the Solomons into the oyster business, it's their drive and passion for producing locally sustainable and eco-friendly seafood that motivates them every day.
We are into sustainability and helping to support our ecosystem for the next generations. Oysters are a great food source to do that. They're one of the greenest proteins on the planet, so that's one motivation. Another is just, we're passionate that local food is kind of the last standing souvenir in an economy when you can buy anything from anywhere. You travel and you have local food, or you grow up in an area and have local food. It's a lot more meaningful in today's day and age. So we wanted to get Georgia seafood back on the menus.
Reporting from Chatham County, I'm Damon Jones for the Farm Monitor.
Well, stay with us. Reporter Favorites of 2024 continues with a special treat for the moms out there, something that could help with those family get-togethers. We'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, that's coming up later in the show. But first, the Atlanta program that's helping families in food deserts gain access to fresh produce while teaching them how to prepare healthy meals. That's next when Reporter Favorites of 2024 continues here on the Farm Monitor. All right, welcome back. As you just saw, we're recapping some of our favorite stories from the past year. Next up, John Holcomb's favorite. Food deserts are often thought of as a rural problem, but in reality, Atlanta has one of the highest concentrations of food deserts in the nation, largely due to its size and population. However, as John first reported back in August, a Fulton County Extension program is tackling the issue head-on, providing fresh produce to the community and educating residents about the benefits of healthy eating.
Here in Atlanta, these boxes of fresh produce are being packed into bags where they'll be loaded onto a truck and taken to and handed out in neighborhoods classified as what's called a food desert, an area with a population of people that are generally low income and have trouble finding or affording fresh, nutritious, and wholesome foods.
When we think about food deserts, we always think about like rural places, right? And you think Metro Atlanta, this bustling city, how could anyone be in a food desert? Well, we have a different problem. We have food swamps where neighborhoods are inundated with high calorie, nutritionally low foods, and then their access to fresh fruits and vegetables isn't that great. Like their grocery store might have some produce, but is it high quality? And then is it cheap or is it expensive? And normally it's expensive. And so people are gonna spend their food dollars on stuff that is shelf stable that they know is actually gonna be good.
That's where Fulton Fresh comes in, as it's a program that's designed to allow those in designated areas the opportunity to not only receive fresh produce, but get to learn how to store it, prepare it, and cook it into a nutritious and wholesome meal.
What the program does, it's a nutritional program, and we go in what's designated as food deserts in Fulton County. We do a nutritional class where the ladies teach various health topics. They do a food demonstration. They let the participants sample the demonstration, and then we give them a bag of produce. And what we try to do is whatever the demonstration is, we try to put that in the bag so they could go home and make that particular dish.
According to Dodd, they often have nearly 100 people at each stop, proving just how beneficial and much needed the program is in the areas that they visit.
They love it. We have, yesterday we went out, and at both sessions we had close to 100 people. We have people that follow the truck and come to locations because we do it just the 10 weeks in the summer, 2 5-week sessions. And if you come to the market, then you basically have your groceries because this bag of produce, you can eat off it a couple days, depending on how many is in the family.
However, Tran says what's most valuable isn't just the free bag of produce, as she believes the skills and knowledge they're gaining will set them up for future success.
The skills that they learn here and a little bit of that education really helps them throughout. So then the next year when they come back, they're like, I did this and this and this, and I've seen my numbers come down. Like last year, I told somebody that if you don't like eating breakfast foods for breakfast, don't eat that. And she came back the next year and she was like, you changed my life. And I was like, what? Something so simple, but for things that are common sense for some, it's not for everybody, and we kind of take for granted what we know. And so it's really important that we get out here and do that education.
Reporting in Atlanta for the Farm Monitor, I'm John Holcomb.
After the break, get ready to spoil mom with a brunch spread fit for royalty. Dr. Tracy Brigman shares her favorite recipe of 2024. Something perfect for any occasion, really, but these we feel mom will especially enjoy. Stay tuned. Finally this week, since joining our popular Meals from the Field segment last year, Dr. Tracy Brigman has quickly become a viewer favorite, with her creative recipes and unique spins on classic dishes bringing something special to every episode.
And who could forget her standout moment this past April, just in time for Mother's Day? Tracy wowing all the moms out there with some incredible recipe tips that were both thoughtful and delicious. Well, a check of the calendar, you will see that Mother's Day is right around the corner, and so is Father's Day for that matter. Hint, Danielle, Nick. So you're probably thinking to yourself, hey, maybe we want to do some brunch for one of those special occasions, but you don't know what to fix. Well, that's why we hired Dr. Tracy Brigman for situations just like this. Good to see you again.
Good to be here.
Yeah, so our theme is going to be brunch for Mother's Day, Father's Day, maybe vice versa.
Anything. So I have a sweet recipe and a savory recipe, so you can pick and choose. So we're going to start with the sweet one. This is a berry French toast casserole. So super good, uses fresh fruit that's available right now. So the first thing I did, I took a loaf of French bread and I cut it into cubes, and you're supposed to stale it out because French bread, it needs to be dry so that when it soaks up the liquid, it's not mushy. You can stale it out overnight, but I like staling it in the oven, 275 degrees, 10 minutes, and you get some good crunchy bread. So I did that. We're gonna put the bread in a 9x13 baking dish till it's about 3/4 full. Okay. So you might not need all of it. You hear that good crunch.
I like that, like big old croutons.
Yeah. A little bit more. If you put in too much bread, then the ratio's off, so that's good. I think that's good. Yeah, there you go. All right, so then we need to make the custard that goes on it. So in this dish, I have 8 large eggs that I whisked together because I don't want whole egg yolks in there. So that's 8 large eggs, and then this is 2 cups of 2% milk. And then we're gonna add 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. And then that is 1 teaspoon of cinnamon. Get some good flavor in there. And then 2/3 cup of brown sugar. And then we're gonna mix that, just make sure you're not making a mess. You see how I'm doing it, not letting you do it?
You're the expert.
So we just need to make sure it's all blended pretty well. Once it is well blended, you wanna pour it. You're gonna pour it evenly over the staled out bread. Make sure it's good and coated. All right, looks good. Then, once we have that all in, just make sure that our bread gets in there. Then we're gonna top it with 1 cup of sliced strawberries and 1/2 cup of blueberries. So if you wanna take the strawberries and just kind of evenly distribute them. Get really pretty. That's good. So now you have to make this ahead of time. So it needs to sit for at least 4 hours. I'm gonna wrap it in saran wrap, put it in the refrigerator, let it sit for at least 4 hours. Or you can let it sit overnight. So it's a good, if you have a busy morning getting ready for church, Mother's Day, Father's Day, you can do this ahead, and then all you have to do is pop it in the oven. So after it's sat for 4 hours or overnight, I'm going to take the saran wrap off, put it in the oven at 350 degrees Fahrenheit for 35 to 50 minutes.
That's before.
That's before.
And that's
after. So that cooked for about 40 minutes. So again, you want to make sure that the egg is cooked through. To serve it, the recipe calls for 1 to 2 tablespoons of powdered sugar. So you're going to serve it with powdered sugar and maple syrup.
So that, my friends, was your sweet. Now we are switching to savory.
Yes. So this is a favorite in our house. It's an impossibly easy bacon pie. So I greased a 9-inch pie plate, and then I cooked 6 slices of bacon, and then it's crumbled. So if you want to sprinkle that evenly on the bottom of the pan, and you can get hickory smoked, applewood smoked, whatever bacon you like. So we're just gonna sprinkle that, and then I have a cup of shredded cheese. This is Monterey Jack. The original recipe, I think, calls for Swiss. I'm not a big Swiss cheese fan, so you can put cheddar cheese, you can put whatever kind of cheese you want in, just it's a cup of shredded. And this is 1/3 cup of chopped onion that I sauteed. If you want to put in raw onion, that's fine. I like mine sauteed in butter. So that's the nice thing about these impossibly easy pies. You can kind of put whatever filling you want in. Our house, we like bacon, onion, and cheese, so.
Good mixture.
Yep. So we're gonna fill the bottom of our pie plate with our fillings, and then we're gonna make the mix that's gonna go on top of it. So here I have 3/4 of a cup of Bisquick or baking mix. And if you want to pour in, this is 1.5 cups of 2% milk. And then 3 eggs. So if you've ever worked with Bisquick before, you do get some lumps. It's okay for my mixture to be a little bit lumpy. If you see any really large ones, you want to go ahead and break those up. But there's going to be some lumps. They will bake out during the baking process. Once I have this mixed and I don't see any large lumps, I'm going to pour it on top of our toppings. And then this is going to go in an oven that's preheated to 400 degrees for 35 to 40 minutes. When the knife comes out clean, that's when it's done. You want to let it rest for 5 minutes before cutting into it.
So obviously with those 2 recipes, you need some kind of a beverage.
Absolutely.
Tracy has just the thing.
Yes, so we have a non-alcoholic peach Bellini. So that will complement the French toast casserole or the easy bacon pie. So what I have in here, I have 2 peaches that have been peeled, pitted, and sliced. And then there are 2 cups of peach juice. So go ahead and hit blend.
I like to push buttons.
Do it.
I always push your buttons. You know what I'm saying? Blend?
Yep.
It's blending.
It's blending.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Are we good?
A little bit more.
Okay.
It'll get everybody up in the morning ready for breakfast.
What? Good?
I think good. So we have everything blended smooth, and then the last thing that we're going to do is we're going to add 2 cups of sparkling apple cider.
Fancy blender.
Fancy blender. Now with this, now see I'm speaking loud because I can't hear. So with this, I don't want to lose all the bubbles, so I'm just going to...
Yeah, can you put that back on me?
Yeah, sorry. Sorry. I just want to pulse like once or twice, because if I blend it like I did, then it's going to blend all the bubbles out. So I'm just going to hit,
Come on.
I have to turn on the power. That helps. Power helps. 1, 2. Then we are simply going to pour this over some ice. Oh, doesn't that look good? I'm going to leave some space on it at the top, because then you garnish it with freshly washed blueberries and some mint leaves. And then you have your non-alcoholic peach Bellini.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Happy early Mother's Day.
Happy early Father's Day.
And of course, as I have the ice in my mouth, you too can find these recipes by logging on to farm-monitor.com. Swallowing the ice, going to the top of that page, and again, all the recipes are there. These are very simple, these are very easy, and I think both Mom and Dad are definitely going to be happy with this.
Absolutely.
Tracy, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for watching, and we will see you again next month. Hey, hope you enjoyed our Reporter Favorites of 2024. Here's to another year at the show, our 59th to be exact, 1966, and even more incredible stories.
Happy New Year, everybody. We'll see you next week for another special episode of the Farm Monitor, our most popular stories of 2024 by you, the viewer. See you then.